I love this state, and I love the people of this state. We've had a great romance together. You know that. It's been a great romance. And we're only getting stronger together.
So the Republican National Committee seized on those last words there from President Trump's rally in El Paso last night with this post on Twitter. If that slogan, "Stronger Together," sounds familiar, there's a reason why.
I believe with all my heart. That's why the slogan of my campaign sums it up, that we are stronger together.
That we truly are stronger together.
We know we are stronger together.
Stronger together.
Stronger together.
So let's be stronger together, my fellow Americans.
That's where we had heard it before. Clinton herself fired back on Twitter today with this: "Now copy my plan on health care, a fairer tax system, and voting rights." She also helpfully provided a link to her website. Kimberly Atkins and Anita Kumar have agreed to stay with us. So, Kim, let's not be polite here. That slogan was pilloried in real time during the campaign as being a kind of formless, let's go diversity cheer when MAGA hats were ruling the day. How does this kind of thing happen? How does it wind up on the president's teleprompter?
Yeah, you know, whether it's by accident or whether it's the fact that President Trump, a part of him, seems to continue to live in 2016 because he seemed to enjoy the campaign trail and enjoy having Hillary Clinton as an opponent. Who knows? But I think this connection probably isn't something that President Trump minds. President Trump loves continuing to run a campaign against Hillary Clinton, even though that election is over, and Hillary Clinton has no problem jabbing back when she sees an opportunity. So it's a continuation of the campaign that never ends.
And Anita, let me argue the other side, which is Mr. I Alone Can Fix It is now all about stronger together. How did that happen?
I know that actually is the thing that really struck me beyond noticing what it sounded like, that it sounded like Hillary Clinton. You know, we have seen him talk about unity, and we saw him recently talk about unity at the State of the Union address. But as I was writing about the State of the Union address before and after it was over, I kind of looked back at some of his speeches. He really only does that speech when he gives this big address to Congress. So this was his third time that he does that. He does talk about unity in that, bipartisanship. But every other day of the year, you don't really hear that very often. So I was wondering if he was was this on purpose? He's trying to talk about unity instead of what he normally talks about. I don't know if they're trying to change their message. What you usually hear from President Trump is more about, as you said, make America great again, more about patriotism, right? Nationalism.
Yeah. Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.